Alright, picking back up on Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. I do hope you enjoy the narration by yours truly. I understand I'm not the best narrator in the world, but please bear with me as we go through this madness together. I'd like to ask everyone to please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, as it really does help my channel grow, and I really do appreciate it. Now let's begin. The path that makes its way down through the fields to the arched opening into the Echimus and Romus, stone walls at least 2 stories high, where 2 large, heavy-looking wooden doors would have swayed open. At the top of the wall are metal spikes jabbing through the muted sky, and etched into the soft plated stone above the door are the words Dreamtown. My eyes fall to the 2 men posted at the either side of the gate, both dressed in midnight blue pajamas with long wooden shepherd staffs at their sides, the kind used to herd sheep, except they hold them firmly as if they're weapons, a way to fend off intruders. The town is not like the others. Its borders are protected, guarded, keeping something out or in, and a shiver skipped down my threads. A shiver skips down my threads. The man ahead of me nods at the 2 guards, then strides quickly through the open gate unopposed. I expect the 2 guards to stop me, to ask who I am and why I'm here. Shepherd's staff thrusted forward to block my way, but they only nod and make a motion to prevent me from passing into the town again. I'm surprised that no one seems startled by my sudden appearance, a rag doll from another realm, but I follow the man with the basket of lavender through the gates, then stop to look out across the dreamy twilight town, filled with the murmuring of voices, a sound that makes my leaves in my stomach stir just a little. After leaving the tomb-like quiet of all the other towns, the man with the basket of lavender disappears down a side street and moves slowly towards the first row of buildings, the walls smooth and white like clay, and tufts of straw poking out from beneath the roofs. Perhaps at the corner of the building, the windows pushed open, I can smell the scent of wood, fire, and clovers drifting out into the evening air, signs that people are still awake here. An entire town, and I could almost cry. To leave a woman and a young girl with, frankly, along the bridge of her nose, are walking up the street towards me, both wearing mismatched pajamas, the colors of fresh mint, and when they're close enough, I speak from the shadows. Hello, I say quietly, not wanting to frighten them. The woman's eyes lift, a hesitant smile ghostly across her lips. I'm looking for someone who might be able to help me. The woman smiles, reacts, her eyes gentle, soft, and the little girl beside her chewing on her bottom lip slid up into her tiptoes, then back down in her footed pajamas. She's fidgeting and tugging impatiently on her mother's hand. I've come from one of the holiday towns, I explained, just as I did to the man in the field, and I believe I've accidentally set loose a creature from your world. Her eyebrows lift, mouth pitch flat before she speaks. A whispered tale is lost, grown along in the tooth, unless there's a riddle that could speak the truth. I stare at her for a moment, trying to find the meaning in her words. I'm sorry, I wonder if there's someone who speaks more plainly that I can talk to. She doesn't answer me, only continues to stare while the little girl sways forth and back, front and back, like she's on a swing. I hesitate, unsure if I should say the name aloud, but I don't have a choice. I think the creature is known as the Sandman, I say, amongst in a whisper, meeting the woman's eyes, and I need to stop him. The little girl stops rocking forth onto her toes. Her eyes turn huge, mouth falling open, and the woman squeezes her hand tightly, like she's suddenly afraid to let go, like they're both afraid of me. The woman shakes her head, panic flares across her eyes, then she pulls the little girl away up the streets, glancing back at me several times before they both vanish into a building with the slam of a door. Even if I could understand a word of what they're saying, once I say the Sandman's name, the residents of Dreamtown don't stick around long enough for me to get any answers. The name Sandman frightens them, terror stretching across their faces. Over my shoulders, I can see the open gates and out to the fields and the woods behind, but I know I can't turn back. I've come this far. There must be someone who'll help me, someone I can understand, someone who won't flee when I utter the Sandman's name. I push away from the corner of the building and start to the heart of Dreamtown. I keep my shadow as much as I can, which isn't hard in the town that casts in a perpetual endless dusk. The sun isn't visible in the sky, but an odd, glittering light leaning on the horizon, as if it's just set. Or is it about to rise? That perfect, magical evening hour. I pass by cottages with candles glowing in the windows, rocking chairs on front porches where people sit with huge books on their laps, drinking steaming cups of golden milk or tea that smells of cinnamon, caramel, and night jasmine. The entire place feels like a storybook, an old world frozen in time. Everyone is rosy cheeked, and the moon lidded eyes were soft cotton pajamas and thick woolen socks were just with long sleeping caps and just carrying candles to light their way. But each person I try to speak to will respond with a riddle or rhyme or bedtime story, their voices soft and pausing as if they're caught in a drowsing in-between state. Not quite awake, not fully asleep, yet the deeper I go into Dreamtown, the more I begin to have the Prolaire sense that someone is following me. A tiptoeing chill runs along the seams of my spine, a coldness along my fabric skin, but each time I spin around, no one is behind me. Not even a shadow slipping slipping just out of sight. I try speaking to several more residents, but they all reply in confusing rhymes and whatever. And whenever I mention the Sandman, their eyes widen and they hurry away. Finally, I reach the town center where park benches line the circling street. Uh, board with crushing, chasing, and handmade quill places to rest, to take a quick evening nap. Several pajama-wearing residents are dozing quietly, and I wonder if their days are endless, interwoven with naps and cups of tea by candlelight and bedtime stories. Across the center stands a large stone building several stories high with a carved wooden sign that reads Lullaby Library. Above the two tall doors glimmering in the lamplight. I make my way through the square and pause to peer at the massive building. We have no situ quite so tall or broad in Halloween Town. Settlements, structures, that's the word, structures, quite so tall. Even our town hall is half the size. Posted beside the library doors are two men, both holding long wooden shepherd's staffs, just like the men at the outer gate. Why would anyone need to protect the library? I sink down into one of the benches outside the library and a throbbing at my temples, a worrying ache pulsing behind my eyes. I feel so certain that once I enter Dreamtown, I would either meet my end by falling into a deep sleep or some unknown awful dismay, or I would find someone who knew how to stop the Sandman, but not this. Not a town populated by people who talk in circles, who I can't understand, who are so horror-stricken by the mention of the Sandman that they run in the opposite direction. Wow, he really has this town freaking petrified, doesn't he? Oh, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. I cover my face with my palms and feel the wetness staining my fabric, soaking through the dead leaves beneath. Maybe there is no saving Jack, no saving the other holidays. There will all be fated to sleep for eternity on and on without end. And beneath the dark despair, and the pain in my chest is another feeling, one that has already begun bubbling beneath the surface and now takes root, weaving itself around my soft fabric bones. Guilt. If there is no undoing what I've done, then there's no atonement. No setting things right. No amends. I wanted this after all. To be alone, to be anything other than a queen, and now I've gotten exactly what I wished for, and maybe I deserve it. The pressing weight of tears finally breaks over my eyelids, and I don't wipe them away. I just let myself cry, soaking into my fabric, brick-hardened weight of it all, of what I've done. This is my fault, and maybe I'll never see Jack again, not awake, not as the Pumpkin King. He as he is as good as dead, just like all the others, corpses sleeping with eyes stuck closed and minds lost in their nightmares. By hurt the hurt burns against my eyes. The pain in my chest is so deep and jagged, I'm certain it will drown me. I slip my hand into my pocket inside my dress, feeling for the small green clover given to me by the leprechaun in St. Patrick's Town. He said it would bring me luck, but so far I feel wholly unlucky. Nothing is as I hoped it would be. Tears soaked my cheeks. The loosened thread in my stomach knots and churns, but between the sobs there is a voice. Small, barely there. Miss, the voice says again. Miss, they've sent for you. I drop my hands from my face, wiping the salt stain of tears, and look to see a small boy wearing moonlit gray pajamas with rabbit ears stitched into the hood. He smiles up at me, missing one of his front teeth, the tip of his nose a cotton candy pink, like he's just awoken from a nap, awoken from a nap, which he probably has. Okay, that sucked. What did you say? I asked, certain I misheard him because the sounds that he spoke is a full sentence, not obscene, upscolded by rhyme or riddle. He steps forth and holds out a tiny folded piece of paper, nodding at me, small eyes blinking. I take it from him and carefully unfold the edges. Come to the governor's house. I read it twice, more than fold it closed. Where is the governor's house? I ask. The boy meets my gaze and says, I'll show you. I follow the young boy up the street. We travel 2 blocks until the road abruptly ends, and straight ahead is a white stone house with several low clouds gathering above it, as if the clouds have been hung there on purpose, suspended by string like a child's mobile above a crib, or painted on with a water paint and dusty white ink. On the front door is a plaque, Governor's House. The boy climbs the stone steps up to the front door and lifts the metal knocker, banging it twice against the wooden door. A moment later, I hear footsteps on the other side, not the hard polluting of boots, but soft, shaky with socked feet. The door swings open. A tall, narrow man with green and blue pajamas, with a clean, shaven face, holding a candle illuminating the doorway, stands before us. Good evening, the man says, plainly. His words, not Justin? Justin? Guised? Never heard that word before. In riddles, I wonder if perhaps this is the common greeting in Dreamtown, since the sky seems to always be hovering right at the soft evening hour. I guess that makes sense. You would have to say good evening instead of good day. He looks to the boy, then to me, surveying me a moment, eyes twitching back. He nods and opens the door wide for me to enter. This way, he insists. I step into the house, but the boy doesn't follow. He turns and slips back out into the streets. His task complete. The tall man leads me into a long, narrow sitting room just off the entrance. Wait here, he says. The man is clearly a butler or doorman or footman or whatever they're called in this realm, and not the governor himself. Oh, so he's like the greeter, the door greeter? Okay. I stand in the center of the room, my eyes scanning every detail, even every vase and picture frame. The room is filled with overstuffed pillows in the corners, thick cotton blankets folded and draped across the back of the couch, and puffy and cushions on the floor to ceiling windows let in the gloomy evening light. Every wax candle flicker from the round side tables and atop stacks of books above me. The ceiling is painted with a nighttime scene, hundreds of tiny stars and constellations against the deep river blue background. It's the perfect room to take an evening nap in just before you settle in for a full night's sleep. I walk to the center of the room and read these spines of several books on the coffee table, picking them up and carelessly. Their covers. There are all bedtime stories, poetry, collections of ancient fairy tales. Well, hello, a deep baritone voice speaks behind me. I whip around, startled, dropping the book, and begin holding onto the floor with my thumb, with a thud. Oh, I misread that. The book I had been holding onto the floor with a thud. So, did she drop the book? Oh, dropping the okay. You would think I would know how to read. Evidently not. When my eyes settle on the two figures standing in the doorway, the leaves in my chest well up into my throat, making it impossible for me to speak and utter a single word. They are both rag dolls, just like me. Aw. What an odd thing to spend your life feeling holy, rare, unusual, and strange, to assure there is no one else like you in the entire endless known universe, only to realize in one stark thunderbolt moment that you are not the only one. The man and woman peer back at me across the long sitting room, nearly identical rag dolls, seams along their cheekbones, but where the man has a seam down the center of his chin, the woman instead has a blue threaded seam above her right eye, carefully stitched by a practiced hand. Her hair is long and sticking straight and blood red, while the man is a wavy chestnut brown, combed carefully to one side, just like the people in the field are those I've seen in town. They're wearing matching silk pajamas paired with heavy robes, the same color as the night sky painted on the ceiling above us. The man's robes has a crescent moon stitched into a breast pocket with royal blue threads, where the woman has a tiny yellow star. We are the governors of Dusk Town. That's a Twilight Town. Gotta lay off the Kingdom Hearts. The man introduces himself, flashing a look at the woman beside him. There is an uneasy candidness to his voice. Likeable, trustworthy, and I'm amazed I can actually understand him. He's speaking in full, clear sentences, not the Ericsum riddles. He steps farther into the room, walking to one of the upholstered chairs, but he doesn't sit down, just continues to watch me. I'm Albert, and this is my wife, Greta. He clears his throat. We've heard that you've been asking questions around town about the Sandman. He stares at me curiously, perhaps because I look like them, and he is just as astonished by the likeness as I am. Rag dolls from two different worlds. I still think that's adorable. Yes, I say, 1,000 thoughts and questions logging at the back of my throat, a wave of relief spilling through me. I can understand them, and they can understand me, and they aren't skittling away at the mention of the Sandman. I guess it's scurrying. I swallow slowly my racing thoughts and begin again. My name is Sally Skellington. I've come from Halloween Town, where I'm the... I pause, the words stuck on my tongue like sandpaper. I'm the queen. My husband is Jack the Pumpkin King. Hey, you might want to embrace your title now. My eyes flash from the man to the woman. There is something strange in their expression, a flicker of doubt, maybe like they don't believe me. But something has happened, I go on. I left the doorway to Dreamtown open by mistake, and now everyone is. But the woman, Greta, steps forth, eyes glassy, mouth tugged at the corners, like she's trying to piece something together, solving a riddle in the features of my face. Sally, she asks, cutting me off mid-sentence. You said your name is Sally. Is her glaze narrows. Sally. My eyes lock onto her, and she crosses the room until she's only a foot away from me. Moonlight from the window skips across the stitching of her soft, pale skin. Yes, I reply, Sally Skellington. Greta looks at me like she's heard the name before, perhaps. Rumors of a new queen in Halloween Town. I've passed through the realms, perhaps. This is something that moves by word of mouth from one town to another. She lifts my ragdoll hands, a stitched line trailing down each of my fingertips, and she touches my long straight hair, running it between her small fingers. Okay, that's a little creepy. You should never touch a person's hair without their permission. Don't do it, kids. Just saying. My heart stops beating. It's not doubtful in the features of her face. It's recognition. The seams above her eyebrows tug together, blue threads buckling, a dampness wells against her lined eyelids. Sally, she says again, touching my cheek with her palm. Fabric to fabric, skin to skin. We're your parents. But I thought Dr. Finkelstein made her. You know what? I guess we'll find out in chapter 12. That was chapter 11, part 2 of Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. I hope you enjoyed the narration. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. It really does help my channel grow. We will pick back up on chapter 12 at a later time. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Have a beautiful day.